Welcome to another session of Stelmo's Rants and Raves. I'm Stelmo. Let's jump in here. So I'm reading an article written by M. and Dowling. Looks like it was appeared in the Independent Sentinel. And I, of course, located this at the libertydaily.com. And the headline reads, Iran surges hangings of protesters. So let's dive into this a minute. See, I remember when months back the protests were just starting in Iran. And it got to the point where you, Mr. President, you came out and you told the people to take to the streets. You also warned the Iranian government not to kill the protesters, that there would be ramifications if they started killing the protesters. They never listened to you, Mr. President. They started killing protesters that you egged on to go out there. Now, I thought at the time you were doing the right thing, but of course I believed you when you said that you had their back. And a ceasefire and negotiating with the very government that continues up until today to execute people merely because they're protesting against a repressive, totalitarian regime. You sent them out there, tens of thousands have been killed, and apparently you think that government is just fine to negotiate with. I don't get that. I'm never going to get it. I hope maybe somebody, I hope someone out there watching this has an answer that they can provide that will somewhat mollify me. Because right now, I'm really disappointed in Donald Trump's second term. I really am. I thought, wrongly of course, that Donald Trump learned the lessons of his first term. And it sure appeared once he was sworn into his second term, he was off like a bat out of fire. And there were all kind of what I perceived to be good things happening. And one of those good things just was Doge. Doge was revealing all kind of fraud. And at the time, the political class, they were feigning outrage. They wanted to see prosecutions. But I think that was just merely to pacify their voters back home, make the people think they're actually on top of the situation, when in fact they're not. But I don't know how this war in Iran is going to turn out. But I believe that if Donald Trump enters into any agreement with the current regime, history will not treat the president well. Because you can't escape tens of thousands of people murdered. You can't escape that. And the people in Iran know. And I think people in Iran now are starting to be disillusioned. And there's one thing I talk about that I don't hear anyone else talking about. But because of this war, the Iranian economy is only chugging forward at a very, very slow speed. A huge amount of stores and other business entities are closed down. I don't know when we're going to start hearing the stories of people starving because they can't find a store that has food in it. And that's just going to become progressively worse as time goes by. Now, of course, during this ceasefire, for whatever reason, and I don't even, at this point in time, I don't know how long this current ceasefire is supposed to last or whatever. because it just seems like if one ends, then there's another one somehow in place, which certainly pleases the powers that be in Iran. But it continues, I believe, to disillusion the people of Iran who are promised things by our president. And now he's standing back, and it doesn't appear that he is moving forward with his promises. Now, let me be clear here before I hear from all of the naysayers. I realize that the president is privy to a lot of classified information that we in the public do not have. I got that. So there might be a reason, and there may come a time when I can come on here and say, boy, they really had me fooled. Donald Trump really pulled off a masterclass effort here, and this is a great thing. But I'm not so sure. At this point, I'm not sure. And I'm disappointed with the president. I'm disappointed with the Epstein files. I'm disappointed with all the gold in Fort Knox. I'm disappointed that they've apparently stopped apprehending illegal aliens. This was one of Donald Trump's biggest things, but apparently Donald Trump has bought into all of the vicious propaganda that's propagated out there by these loony leftists. Or maybe it's the budget situation. I can't say for certain because I haven't seen that information out there in the news that I could be somewhat educated with what's going on in that regard. So it's possible that this will all work out in the end. But the problem I have is how many people will needlessly be murdered during this ceasefire? I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is it's getting out that these prisoners are being executed. We're seeing pictures of people with names. This isn't some made-up ploy by some warmonger or something. This is actually happening. And it was anticipated that it would happen, which is why, Mr. President, you warned them, don't kill the protesters. But they did kill the protesters. They can't be trusted, Mr. President. Why you want to negotiate with them is beyond my ability to comprehend. I don't get it. Look, I get that you're terrified of putting boots on the ground. But I think at this point, Mr. President, you have to open up the Strait of Hormuz, whatever it takes. And if that requires some boots on the ground, we need to get the Strait of Hormuz open. I know you talk all the time about how ships are going to American ports and filling up with American oil. And I would agree that's a good thing. But do we have enough oil to replace all the oil that's come offline? I don't think so. I think if we did, that the price wouldn't be where it's at. And I'm afraid it's only going to continue to go up from here. And inflation is going to go up. And when inflation goes up, it's going to cause the 10-year yield to go up. And the 10-year yield going up is not going to bode well, because that's going to increase the amount of money that we have to pay in interest on our national debt. We know we owe a phenomenal amount of money. And Mr. President, I don't know if they've told you this or not, but we're primarily issuing short-term debt. Nobody wants the long-term debt, and the reason is inflation. They're afraid that if they lock into the current rates for a 30-year Treasury, that they'll end up losing money in the end, because the inflation will deflate the value during the course of those 30 years. So we're issuing trillions of dollars in short-term debt. It's getting harder and harder to find buyers. We have times when there are no buyers for the debt. And of course, this gets very little publicity. But it is what it is. And it's all, to me at least, it seems like it's being worsened by the fact that you're not ending this thing. And I mean, when I say end it, I mean by taking out these radical religious zealots and putting in a lay government into there. Let the Crown Prince of Iran serve as the head of the interim government until they could have free and fair elections and the people of Iran can decide what they want. You know, these radical extreme religious zealots, you know, they can run in the election. I don't think they'll win very much. I don't think they'll win anything at all because they've established to people that things do not bode well for the public when they're in power. But you made promises, Mr. President. And every day that goes on that I see you trying to negotiate, trying to force people, they're never going to give up their nuclear ambitions. They're not. And you're not going to bomb them into submission. You're going to have to take them out. They are so weak right now. I don't know why you just don't finish it off, Mr. President. Instead, you're allowing the problems to continue. And I'm talking about the problems with inflation and things that are existing outside of that war zone, that are being caused in great part by that war zone. So therefore, you need to go in there and you need to have peace, but you can't have peace with this regime. You can't let, I mean, if you can't see how that will destroy your legacy, then, you know, I don't know. I can't figure it out. But I'll admit I can't figure it out. It makes no sense to me anymore. It just doesn't. But day in and day out now, we've got this ceasefire, and we're trying to force them to agree to something, which I believe if they ultimately do agree to, they're not going to follow through on. You know, we've spent billions of dollars on this war, and we've really, at this point, got nothing to show for it. Perhaps maybe we should take over those oil wells and the Strait of Hormuz until that oil pays us back and makes us whole from this whole endeavor. But I doubt that's going to happen because we never do the right thing. And but it is what it is, and we have to live with it. And hopefully things will work out fine. But I'm really a pessimist, and certainly the news on a daily basis keeps my pessimistic levels high. With that, I'm going to let you go for now. Y'all have a great day. Stay safe. Crazy world out there. Bye-bye.